Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Real Kusai. Today we're going to do something special, Follina. Sometimes I call it even Follina, the name used here in Israel. Follina. Heard about it a lot. Basically, I didn't really know what the heck, what is it? I heard something about a document, Word document that can be executed on your computer without VBA macros, without the enable content button. It can be executed freely by retrieving some um, file, for example, or executing some commands on your computer without you even knowing. So it's basically a new approach, a new technique uh, of code execution via Office document. So let's begin with our journey. Basically, one of the things I stumbled upon is the tweet of Max Malutin. It's one of my best students. Today he's working in Signet as a malware analysis team leader, threat researcher, does a lot of amazing things. I'm following him also, follows me, uh, does a lot of contributions. So I stumbled upon this, like, okay, so now I see that not only this vulnerability is like released out there, but it is actually exploited in the wild by groups like Qakbot, which I hate. Heard to hear about them always, like Qakbot. Always have Qakbot. You had Conti, you have Emotet, you have, I don't even like go through these feeds anymore. Today I'm actually working as a red teamer by myself, so I don't have a lot of time to um, research and live this world of malware, but it's something that will always be with me. So basically got this and stumbled upon this photo, and I saw, okay, so there is something with the MSDT, and from what I remember, it's something that refers to the Microsoft diagnostic tool. And I like, why the hell the diagnostic tool in Windows need to execute payloads? What the hell? Um, and it's kind of weird, for me. But it's Microsoft. We have a lot of weird stuff in Windows, and I think it's one of the reasons um, uh, black hats and of course white hats have worked in the security industry, because there's a lot of problems and we need to solve them. Um, so basically, a Word or an Office file can execute a command. For example, this MSDT, it retrieves some file or invokes some command. Here you can see invoke expressions, does some decoding, and eventually it executes this encoded stream. And from there, basically, you have download of files, and these files will be loaded. I think it's a DLL file, so I didn't actually research this, but basically, those downloaded files from those IPs will be loaded with the regsvr as a most likely as a DLL. So yeah, it's kind of interesting, and of course, these files are down to the environment to the temp folder. So I kind of like, okay, before you go and dive into samples and you do malware analysis, like take a higher approach, like a higher overview of things, and like start to like research what is it. So we will start from reading this blog, not all of this, of course, but specific points. So there is a group called NowSec, like a security firm or something, and they saw this odd-looking Word document which were not detected by Windows Defender. So they got through it and they saw something with this MSMSDT, excuse me, and eventually was executing PowerShell. So it all started by security company basically seeing something weird. So it's very important to always keep an eye on weird stuff, especially if you're a threat researcher. And as a red teamer, of course, it can be also assessed and used for your red team operations and assessments. So of course the in this point defender didn't detect it, of course. So it was a Word document which was using a remote template feature, whatever, retrieve some HTML file from a remote server, and in order to retrieve and execute eventually this commands, this msmsdt blah 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 capability was used, and eventually executed the decoded command, which can be cmd, PowerShell, whatever. And they decided to call it Follina because it's some province or something, some reference to some place in Italy, because they found this code, like reference to this area code. I don't know why. Maybe great for threat intelligence analysts to understand from like who is the group that actually found this vulnerability and first started to use it in the wild. Of course, after this publication, a lot of things came along, like this POC, this Follina.py. Basically, those are the amazing contributors which created this Python POC. There is those people who will say, nah, it's not good to create such POC. Attackers or black hats can use it. Yeah, for sure. But as you have a knife, you can use it to kill someone, or to basically cut or carrots, or to make salad. Kind of. I think I'm stand with the my opinion on this. It's amazing, and we need to have such POCs to better understand um, those threats, and also to help us simulate the same threats in our own organizations, in our own environments, to help the organizations become more secure, of course. So basically, following Max Maliutin's tweet, I got to the virus total here, and basically saw some threat intel stuff, and I directly go on to this file, take the docx file, and you can see it exploits the Follina CV, and maybe other several CVs also. I don't know if it's true, but whatever. And for now we have only 26 detections. Maybe if we'll refresh it, it will be different, and we can see it is attributed to Qakbot, as of course Max says here. So it's kind of interesting. If we go to details, we can see it's an Office Open XML document, whatever. It's like docx. Docx is basically like a zip compressed file. If you put it in a hexadegree, you will see the PK magic number in the zero offset of the file in the beginning. So yeah, let's see what kind of relations we have. Relations to this IP, we have this file downloaded. I think it's a maybe it's the second stage or retrieved file. So we can click on this also. We can see here the file. There are already companies who detect this IP address as malicious. This server is based on an Nginx backend server. Let's see, we have here, yeah, it's created by Follina. Don't have any related file or something, but we can try and maybe download it to our virtual machine. Be of course cautious about it. See if we have something. Maybe the server already. No. See. Let's even try a different approach. Let's go to CMD. As a reminder, I'm doing stuff from without any knowledge. I didn't really in this talk or this video, so I just go with the flow. This is my kind of thing. So go to desktop, try to CURL, maybe just like try to communicate with it. You can try to ping to the server, see if it's alive. And nothing. So the server is basically down. So it's not something we can use for now. I think, yeah, it's one of the server 119. Yes, this is the exact server. Okay. So I think it was like the second stage or something. Yeah. So it's kind of interesting. Before I will dive like into maybe, let's go how the flow goes. Let's see how things are going on. Let's try to like create our own version of this so we can try to like understand what to expect, maybe try to analyze our own created POC, like our own created payload based on this amazing POC. And from this we can understand, okay, so what can we expect, what kind of behavior we can expect on the computer level. Most likely it will be some executed command, which will generate some network flow or network traffic, because it will try to retrieve something from a remote server, for example, or maybe there is more options. So let's like understand how this works. So I'll start with understand the usage of this tool first of all, and then we'll go to the code itself. So start by Follina Pi. You have the help here. If you want, you can like do the -m to provide a command to be executed, or a binary, if I understood right. So it can be binary to load, a remote binary, or command to run an encoded PowerShell command. So interesting. Maybe we can create, as the red teamers, we can use it for creating a reverse shell based on PowerShell. So this, we can like send this Word or RTF created document, and this MSDT thing will execute our PowerShell command, and we'll get a reverse shell. And if we'll use the binary mode, basically it will retrieve and execute this binary. It can be local SMB share of the compromised network, or maybe something remote. Okay, so we can use two optional arguments also. We can base it on an RTF or docx, which is kind of cool. We can also evaluate like two modes to like see what kind of detections our products, like our EDRs or antivirus in our organization, what kind of capabilities they have. Maybe they detecting docx files, but RTF not for some reason. So you can maybe as a red teamer you can approach the blue teamers and say, okay, let me help you, or this is the kind of behavior I saw. So let's, and the defender or whatever product didn't detect it. So let's try to help each other to detect it. Okay. This is my approach in red teaming. Like basically when you're doing your assessment, in the end of the assessment, you go take all of the problems, all the vulnerabilities you have exploited, or the misconfigurations you found, or the detections that you maybe expected to be there, but they're not, go and provide some assistance to the blue team. This is my approach. Maybe other red teamers will see it differently. Fine by me, need to like do whatever I'm doing, but this is my point of view. Eventually, the main purpose of a red teamer is to show the company the problems it have, and by showing this, the problems, can also solve them. And if the IT and security personnel and the SOC teams have problem to solve those issues, go and help them. Why not? Maybe you will learn more about their way of working. Of course, I'm talking about um, organizations which have their own red teams. Okay, like mostly it will be big organizations. So let's take this POC, proof of concept, analyze its code. So we can see there are some functions. Let's start with the main. If there is a main function, don't see if there is a main, so it's straightforward Python. So we can see we can define some types of commands. We can do localhost, we can do remote stuff. Here is the definement of the MSDT. We can see here. So this is basically the payload itself, which will execute the binary or whatever it will be. The payload URL, of course, will need to be provided. An HTTP server with the second stage payload. It can be RTF, docx, and it will be retrieved. Okay, so this script also has the ability to host a local HTTP server, like to execute it locally. Maybe best for the POC itself. What else we have here? So this is the creation of the RTF, generate RTF, if this is the options. Yeah, so kind of straightforward. I believe it works amazing. So let me just git clone it, my server, or to my virtual machine. Clone. Oh man, don't have a git installed. Hate it. Choco install git. Yeah, I can just go to the web browser and download it also, but yeah, whatever. Also, while it will install it, there is some detections which can be used. If you go to the blog itself, if you go here, you have some Sigma rules you can use by Florian. Does amazing job, you know, in everything related to detection and of course to Sigma. You have some mitigations here which you can basically disable them. You can disable this MSDT using our registry key. You have a lot of stuff for this. I will recommend you not waiting for Microsoft. Maybe they already patched it, whatever, but in general, do not wait for patches. You know, for each patch Tuesday, you have exploit Wednesday. You know what I'm talking about. So let's go detection. So if you go here, basically it will go, one of the links will be this GitHub. So for example, where you have, you know, a process with the process command line with MSDT exit, like, you know, you have Word or Excel or Outlook or whatever Office product, which includes this MSDT.exe, it's, you know, weird. Why the hell a Word or Excel will need to execute MSDT.exe? I don't really know a normal behavior used with MSDT. Like, again, the diagnostic tool is something, of course, legit, but why the heck needs to do it? Of course, you can refine this. You can maybe search for something with PowerShell or, you know, base 64 encoded strings or whatever. Yeah, so you have the guys which will create the detections. They understand better. Okay, so let's get back to our virtual machine. And failed. Okay, whatever. So let me just. Take the script. Actually use Flare VM, so I expected Flare VM, script will install Git, but whatever. Maybe we can do pip install Git. 80 Windows. Okay, whatever. So let's just download the zip. While I hate Windows, I also love it. Yeah. Let me extract the package. And I'll open CMD inside and see what we can do with it. Let's try to be straightforward as possible. We have here the examples, which is amazing. So let's start by literally use this example and see whether this calc.exe, calc.exe will be executed. Let's do this. Serving payload on localhost 80, so it actually serves is generated under, yeah. So we have, okay. So it's like we have this click me docx, which is the actual, first stage document file, which will be clicked by the victim, supposedly, and will download from this, from a remote server. As you can see in here, goes to an IP, downloads the payload, and executes it. Basically, what this amazing and straightforward POC does. So, if you go and click on this, wow, oh, here we go. Okay, yeah, detecting issues. Kind of interesting. If I'm a red teamer, how can I, like, it's a question, how can I just close this immediately without this popping up? I don't know, maybe there is some option to do it, but of course not, will go into it. So it's actually executed calculator tags it. Wow, amazing. Now it's kind of interesting. What do we have, like, let's get this into full screen mode. Like, if I go to, a standard malware analyst will think, ah, man, maybe we have something in the macro editor or something like this. I don't know. Like, let's check it. Go to view macros, nothing, of course, because it's not macro based. Which is of course kind of interesting. So if we'll put, if we put this click me docx into an hex editor like hxd, for example, I hope it's actually installed. Yeah, thanks, Flare VM, you're the best. Like, and drag it side. Like I said, of course, it's compressed, like it's like a zip compressed file. This is how docx actually work in general. And we have this pk magic number. And of course, I don't expect something, everything is compressed. So yeah, don't expect to see some visible strings or something like this. We can do maybe 7-zip, open archive. Okay, so we have maybe one of those XML code. So if, like, you know what? Let's go to the POC itself, learn from it. Let's go to the code. Where's the payload? So we have here this payload. So it replaces this with that, encodes, blah, 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 and every MSDT, skip force param. I think it's actually like it's like appended maybe to the end of the file or something like this, like where it actually goes. So if this payload, okay, so this is the payload HTML. You have the generate docx, which takes the payload URL and creates it. How it creates it? So it opens the file, goes to okay with open src document xml rails template. Okay, so it goes to the it goes to the source document, like folder here, to this document xml rails template. Let's see if we can edit with notepad plus plus or whatever. Okay, so it takes this file, blah blah blah. Okay, some standard stuff. Okay, so takes it. Where's the code? Okay, so it opens this file and reads the content, and then takes the content of this file and formats it into payload URL. So it adds payload URL into the end of it, maybe. Then it checks if this folder exists. If not, it will create it, the folder of this Rails, whatever. It's like part of the creation of a docx file or whatever. Don't really understand it to the deep level. And again, it opens as a write mode. This is document XML Rails. Okay, document XML Rails. So let's go into docx world, build Rails. Okay, with zip file, and then it uses the zip file in order to compress it as a docx file, and then it generates it. So it actually goes to this file under src docx word, src docx word, and it takes what? Takes Rails document, Rails and document, blah blah. So what is this? So it basically okay. So basically it adds the code of this MSDT or whatever to this file, if I understand it right, with open as file, and basically takes F and writes it to payload Rails. Okay, so basically this is how it's done. This is how it's done, and it generates it. So takes this template, reads the content, then basically takes the payload URL, creates a directory if it's not there. Then it opens this document XML Rails file in a writable mode, and basically it writes the payload Rails. So let's search this payload Rails thing. Okay, so basically payload Rails equals to the payload URL. Take it here. So the payload URL will be basically, we'll go to docx. Payload URL will be the HTTP. The argument you provide, like the actual URL you provide as an argument in this POC, and /exploit.html, which is the name of the file with the exploit. Specific -c. Okay, so this is for the command itself. So if you want to add a comment or whatever, format the URL generated. Yeah, so basically it takes the URL, which is this, takes this, Rails blah blah XML file, adds it, and creates this docx file, which we see in the virtual machine. Okay, so this is how it works in general. So if we open this click me, like we go here to Follina PoC. If we open this click me in zip like we already did, maybe if we'll extract the content, it's kind of interesting. Extracted in a payload, whatever. If we go to Rails, for example, the actual command, or we can try to do if I take if I take this folder and we try to search for of course do it in the host itself. Yeah, nice cat, go away. Let me do my own thing. Thanks for your help. Okay, so if I'll now go into the terminal, I have a Linux terminal on WSL, use grep. Yeah, you can update, why not? T go away. Go away. Thank you very much. Don't need your help. So it was in. So go to extracted, blah blah blah, and let's try to do grep, maybe grep IR of calc. All these files and nothing. Okay, like Word, Rails, document. So this is the actual extracted content. Interesting. Where the hell it's added? Calc blah blah thing. Document Rails. Document XML, font settings, everything here in XML. MSMSDT, maybe let's search something good. Maybe it's just a waste of time, I don't know. Let's see. RepIR, MSDT. Okay, we have core XML, something blah blah blah. I don't think it's actually. Let's try to figure out where it adds the actual command in the doc file. Maybe there are a blog or something which will explain it. I don't know. So here again, so this is the click me docx. This is the extracted content of click me docx. Yeah, already checked it. Maybe here something. Calc, MS, MSDT, no. Okay. Kind of interesting, you know? Like how it's actually working. Because some command is executed here, but where exactly from this click me docx? Interesting. Maybe you can answer it by the comments or whatever. So if I go to www, go to this exploit HTML, let's see what we will see there. Okay. Okay. So, man. So here is the actual command, but how it's actually how it's even invoked, how this HTML file is even invoked. This is what bugs me. Okay, I see the execution. Wow, amazing. But how, like, how it actually do it? I think I'll need to go and research about how this MSDT or maybe this template thing works. Let me see here. Maybe there's some explanation. If I'll go in an RTF, it will be a different thing, maybe. Current directory. Open, write payload rails. So this payload rails with open XML. Reads the content into temp. Then formats the payload URL. Creates it payload rails. What? This template, something with a template here. Okay. Next on rails ETL. Okay. Let me check this one. Types. Know what? Why not go here? Go here. So it's like SDT, diagnostics key, blah blah blah. This is the command. Amazing. How it knows it goes to local host. Like there is the local host thing. So it will go and to this www folder and execute this exploit HTML. So maybe I need to search for RepIR localhost. Here we go. Okay. So we see here under the Word folder Rails document XML Rails. So this is the extract, again, as a reminder, this is the extracted content from the ClickMe, docx. So this is the payload after it were created. Okay, and I wanted to understand, okay, so this is executed, but what is the actual, trigger? Download and execute this, okay, or from this docx file. And yeah, so basically it happens here, document XML Rails, which is the added URL, payload URL, which added to document XML Rails. I understand. So basically that's the URL, which we can see here, this document XML Rails, which is inside the clickme docx file, of course, and it executes this mhtml blah 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 localhost exploit. So yeah, basically executes. The use of the mhtml function here or whatever will retrieve the HTML file, will execute its content. As we can see, the same content here with the calc exit. Yeah, that's it. You have a lot of things to say and a lot of thoughts going through my head, and I'm trying to reorganize them. But a lot of red teamers or cybersecurity experts, or call them whatever you want, think that in order to bypass security controls or to do something fancy, you need to go and write shell codes and hookings and injections and all of this blah blah stuff. Here you have something very simple and yet genius. This is my opinion. I don't know who figured it out. Maybe you want to sit with him on a coffee, maybe not. Maybe it's a bad person, but it's cool. This is very, very cool. And yeah, so now after understanding how docx files are, how the payloads, how things are executed best based on this Follina exploit, let's take a real world example. So let's take this bad boy from Max, this one. I have here this hash. Of course, I will not pay for VirusTotal only to download the file, so I'll go to Malware Bazaar. Yeah. Search with the SHA-256 tag and the hash itself. And voila. We have a Follina blah blah payload based on Qakbot. Let's download it. And the password is infected. Yeah. I'm laughing. If you want to understand why I'm laughing, go to the video of Yashma ransomware and you'll understand. Go to my virtual machine. And extract this bad boy. So this is the file. We see a doc file. Okay, let's validate it. And disable this bad boy here. So let's start analyzing it like a good old malware analyst. Always start with the text editor. Nah, it's not a doc. It's a docx, my man. Of course, I think it will successfully execute it because docx, it's not so important for the Windows loader, I think, you know, to in Office documents, whether it's doc or docx, but because it's PK, you know, we can do the same thing. We can go 7-zip, 7-zip, okay, open archive, and let's extract the content, create a folder, extract the Qakbot sheet, okay, and here. And now we go to Word. Where else? Yeah, I remember right. What else? And oh, here are MHTML. So yeah, this is the second payload. in the start of my video, I tried to we had this virus total. Let me see if it's open. No, it's not open, but I had this virus total. We saw that it tried to like download this 1 to 3 res. Oh, okay, so let me. Well, basically, this is the MHTML. It will retrieve the file from this server. Yeah, and magic happens, you know. It will download, execute it, and from there, you can do whatever you want. As a red teamer, as a white hat, black hat. Yeah, that's it. This is how it works. Yeah. So basically, if you have any questions, something you want to add, maybe you want to tell me, take a different approach, maybe do this and do that, you can do it freely in the comment section. Like, I like to do this approach of not I come from zero knowledge. I only heard about Follina and didn't really understand what is it, like how it works, what it actually means, you know. Just one of the reasons I do this video, I want you to want for people to see how to approach things. I don't say that my approach is the best, but I say like I try to provide my point of view of how to think and how to approach and how to research stuff. Yeah, that's it. So thank you very much, guys. Shabbat shalom, and have a great. Take care.